into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers. We're here during another AfterBuzz TV after show for Disney's Girl Meets World Season 1, Episode 16, Girl Meets Home for the Holidays. I'm your host, Kristen Elizabeth Snyder, and joining me, Lee Epstein.
Head bobbing, as always.
Head bobbing. I missed the music. Josh, where we at, man? We were all about to dance.
Wow.
Breakdown. Girl Meets How to
Josh,
Dance. Thanks, Josh.
What if it's like, where are the flashing lights, Josh?
Where are the flashing lights? It's in the club.
It's gone, and it's back.
We're just... Oh my god. He can do anything
How's that for a holiday after show? Are you guys entertained?
Oh, yeah, all right, enough of the flashing lights.
If you guys want to call in and tell us how much you absolutely loved this episode, because I know I did, you can call us at 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729. I hope you had time to write that down.
Yes, we are in the studio right now. It is Monday, 6 p.m. on the West Coast, or what time is it? 6:26 on the West Coast, and it's 9:26 on the East Coast, and you can figure out everything in between. So if you're watching us right now live on AfterBuzzTV.com, call us or tweet us.
Yes, we had a lot of people tweet us after this Home for the Holidays episode because of everyone reprising their roles from Boy Meets World, which I absolutely loved. I watched it quite a few times.
It was, I would say it's probably one of the best episodes. Not only because of that, I mean, that for sure fed it into all of our nostalgia, but it was a great episode altogether.
Favorite part?
Oh my God. Yeah, so
I'm putting
many.
you on the spot.
So many. Oh my God, I really liked it. I loved when Farkle arrived in the bedroom.
Yes, in the window.
In the window.
That couldn't have been done any better.
Perfect.
He was like,
I agree.
"Hello, ladies." Oh.
Because it had everything. It had the new stuff, the old stuff. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to see Sean trying to escape out a window again. And I mean, the window in Cory's room in Boy Meets World was such a huge scene. All the time, either Sean was running away or they were sneaking out the window. So I'm glad that we still have the windows as almost like a character in the show.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into the episode.
All right.
So Cory is very excited for Sean to come, and Maya doesn't even believe he exists because they're just always hearing stories about Sean Hunter. And I feel like this episode was sort of written for the audience who hasn't necessarily watched Boy Meets World, because it's all this who's Sean Hunter, Ryder Strong. So
right, like the younger viewers are kind of, or the new generation who didn't grow up on Boy Meets World, let's say they're kind of the Riley Maya generation, right? They're also kind of wondering, like, what is this whole thing about Sean? Like, I mean, a lot of people have seen it, but you're right, that it's kind of catching people up. Like, what is the big deal about this guy, Sean? We haven't seen him before. Where the heck has he been? And why does Cory, why does Cory care about him so much?
I loved how excited Cory was in preparation for him to come, and the fact that he made that Sean and Cory ornament forever, and Topanga's like, where should it go? And he's like, right over our wedding ornament.
Totally. I mean, one of my best friends was here in California this weekend, and he's engaged to a lovely girl, and we kind of joke about how it's like there is this dynamic of the best friend and spouse kind of competing sometimes and finding ways to make that work and being friends all together, because obviously Sean and Topanga are also friends, but yeah, it's a pretty real thing, I think, for a lot of people, that whole girlfriend friend or boyfriend friend or spouse friend balance. I think it's a good problem to have until you get to the point where the other friend is feeling like Sean. Yeah. And I'm not going to go this whole show without saying it. Basically, when he sees Riley, it's been said in the show that makes him feel like
it's reminding him of what he doesn't have, which I think, a lot of people probably feel that. I know I do whenever I'm looking at Facebook and literally every single person in my graduating class has added a photo of their husband or their baby. So
this is very specific to our exact ages, by the way. If you don't relate to this, it's okay. But I know exactly what you're talking about. I think also that was another example of something we've talked about before, which is that's a very adult concept. It's a kid's show, it's on Disney Channel, and it's a family show, but that idea of talking about adults or talking with adults about, feeling that they're missing out on something or longing for something or something is missing from their life, that's not such a light, easy concept. And I like how this show is able to work those ideas in. I think that this was a great example of that, of, dealing with Sean's feeling like he doesn't have what his best friends have because they've kind of diverged in life as they've gone to have kids, and he has not. Right.
It's something we can all relate to. And aside from that, whenever Sean came through the door and, Cory finally did notice that he had arrived and there was like that hug where they're pretty much like suffocating Augie, I really wanted, as a fan, if I could insert one thing that would satisfy my nostalgia for the old show, I wanted Cory and Sean to do like their old handshake. I don't know if you remember how like monumental that handshake was, but they would slap the hand, they would do a little dance, and I kind of wanted that, or I at least wanted a flashback to it.
I think that was kind of a question in this episode, right? How much they were going to do, like how much was everything going to be the same from Boy Meets World, and how much wasn't it? Like a more subtle one, I thought, because I had to remember this one, was when, when Cory falls asleep, when Cory and Sean are like sleeping, right? You're so proud of me that I'm calling this out. And they do yip, yip, yip. That's like a little, that's also...
It's a wink.
It's a wink, exactly. And a good one. And the audience, the studio audience, blatantly appreciated it, which was so cool. This is one of those episodes where I feel like having a studio audience changes everything. Mm-hmm. Because you could tell, like, these were the fans who they picked up on every wink like that, which was great. You could hear the reactions, and it was real. It wasn't just like laugh track. They were really like wooing and gasping. And I liked having the studio audience for this one.
I did too. That's a great point. And how did you feel about William Russ and Betsy Randall coming back as Cory's parents to reprise their roles?
Obviously it was great. I actually felt a little bit like Amy Matthews, Betsy Randall's character, was a little bit reminding me of Marie Barone from Everybody Loves Raymond, Raymond's mother, and she's always picking on Ray's wife's cooking and, you don't do this right, you don't do that right. And that was I was kind of a little surprised at that.
Honestly, I was too. And I think that the audience was as well, because whenever she said to Sean, "Are you hungry?" and then she said, "Good luck."
I was like, whoa, she's really picking on Topanga's cooking and homemaking skills and whatever.
You know what? I don't know if that's maybe her character getting old and sort of, sad that she's not the one in charge anymore. I can see that as a natural progression for a character. But at the same time, I was upset a little bit. And I was also upset a little bit during this show because Sean wasn't happy. And, I was so happy he was there. And I wanted it to be goofy, Sean and Cory show, and no one talks but them. I wanted that.
More, yeah.
I wanted that. And the show kind of turned on itself. It was a little meta in that they were calling it out,
So meta. No, even when he says this isn't a TV show.
Yeah. He's like, why don't you move home and live in the apartment upstairs and be the crazy uncle? And he's like, this isn't a TV show. This is real life. So.
And you're like, wait a second. No, this is a TV show. Wait, is it?
But we all want that. And to throw in some news, and I'm sure anyone who has watched Boy Meets World already knows that Will Friedle, who played Eric Matthews, Cory's older brother, is coming back to the show in season 2. And I'm hoping that if Sean Hunter, Ryder Strong, doesn't take that apartment upstairs, I'm hoping the crazy uncle Eric does. That's my hope. I hope he moves in upstairs.
Well, we didn't have the prediction lights going on, but it'll
Your AFTERBUZZ TV prediction.
Thanks, Josh.
Oh my God.
That's just a hope.
His fingers are so quick, Josh.
We
have operator in the West.
Yeah, we have covered that he's a machine.
Yeah, well, that's why he's got that voice. No.
I'm basically bonded with this board here. It's part of me.
Bop, boop, bop.
I'm actually attached to this yellow microphone, too.
We live here.
But there's other news, but I'll save it for later that I read online today related to the show. We'll come back to it later.
Leave them hanging.
We'll come back to it later.
Leave them all hanging at
It's
home.
not really related to the show, but it's nice. We'll come back to it later.
Okay. And Josh, if we get a call, let's please take it.
I absolutely will. Please call
Thanks.
us.
Call us, guys. Ask your questions.
You know, I'll tell you something about this episode. I'm totally down, and I love Christmas shows, music, movies, all about it. I think it's great. I can totally get into it. That said, I can tell you that growing up as a kid who wasn't Christian and didn't celebrate Christmas, that I have a very visceral memory of a certain story that, and I bring it up for a very specific reason with this episode. And I'll tell you what happened in this episode and why it reminds me of this story. So, obviously, they're celebrating Christmas. There's a Christmas tree. But I also noticed that they don't use the word Christmas. They're not saying Merry Christmas and not saying Christmas. They're saying holiday. And I think that's such a... I really appreciate that in the sense of it's totally okay to celebrate diversity and show that some people definitely do celebrate Christmas. That's great and that's cool. But I think there are so many kids watching who might not be Christian, might be Jewish or Muslim or Hindu or Buddhist or
Michael,
anything.
the creator of the show, is Jewish.
Totally, and I thought that this shows the sensitivity of the writers, both Michael and also the other writers, of like creating a show that is inclusive and that lets any kid at home say, oh yeah, this is about spending time with family and friends at holidays and the dynamics of holidays and people coming back. It's not about any one particular celebration. Again, I'm like all about Christmas shows, but I like that it was a little more inclusive and open than that. And it reminds me of a very specific connection because, of course, we're on the Disney Channel with Girl Meets World. When I was 6 years old, 1992, at Disney World, a camera crew from the Disney Channel came up to interview me.
Wow.
Yeah. And they asked me, they said, little boy, it was the middle of November. And they said, little boy, what holiday's coming up? And I said, Thanksgiving? And they said, well, no, like after Thanksgiving. And I was like, and they kept like prodding me and prompting me because they wanted me to say Christmas, duh. And eventually they were just like, okay, what is Santa bringing you for Christmas? And I said, Santa doesn't come to my house. I'm Jewish. And this is like a famous story and that I remember and my family always tells.
Did they use that?
I don't think so.
Aww.
So that's why I'm grateful to Michael and the writers for, creating something on the Disney Channel for the kid who doesn't celebrate Christmas, where it's just a holiday and we can all feel included. But
well, this time you were included, Lee.
Totally.
And are you going home for the holidays?
No. You want to come over for Hanukkah?
I'm going to Florida for the holidays.
Maybe you'll get interviewed if you go to Disney World.
Oh, absolutely. And I will remember that Christmas is coming.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get it right for the rest of my life.
Yes.
But yeah.
So I also wanted to discuss that it seems that this show, the writers of the show who do Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World, they always use the holiday episode as sort of a very serious episode.
Like with the Thanksgiving kind of stuff. And this, or you're saying just in general, from Boy and Girl in general?
There are like the more humorous episodes, and then every year for like the holiday episodes in Boy Meets World, it was like very serious and kind of sad almost.
What do you think that's about?
Because I think the holidays are a time of reflection. You know, a lot of people are sort of weird right now. Like,
totally.
A lot of people didn't go out this weekend, I noticed. It was weird.
People stop and think. I think also it's like there's this kind of idealized, romanticized version of the holidays. Everyone's so happy and hunky-dory. And for some people that's true, and that is a part of it. And also for a lot of people, there's a lot of anxiety attached to holidays.
Right. And it's right before the new year, and you're like, oh my gosh, where was I last year? Am I going in the right way? And I really like that we got to pick up with Sean's character and find out 13 years later what exactly he's doing. And we find out that he left whenever Riley was born, and he went off to work for the show, or for the website.
That Maya looks at. Shocked.
Yes, it's something about like the weekend getaways. I wrote it down here somewhere, but it's really Hit the Road, I think it was called.
Right.
And basically he just goes somewhere different every weekend, and then he lets the audience know who reads his blog, is it worth it for the weekend? He sort of is one of those reviewers for like Yelp or restaurants or whatever, but he does it for a very cool job. But he's always on the road, trying out different places.
Not surprising.
Not surprising, because his dad was.
Yeah, and he was always kind of like, he references this in when he's connecting with Maya, which is obviously obviously a great connection that, those of us who are fans of Boy Meets World have kind of been making all along, but to have it explicitly there and for the, kind of mirror parallel character of Maya to meet him and to interact face to face, he talks about how people like him and Maya are often running from, their home was not necessarily a comfortable place.
Right.
Not like there's no place like home. Like, actually, it kind of felt sometimes they wanted to go anywhere but there because there was a lot of anxiety and difficult things going on there.
Right.
And so they shared that. So that makes sense that he would do a job that involves kind of getting away from home and running away and trying different things.
Yeah, he even says to her, you find yourself thinking of other places. So, escapism.
Right, and they really have that connection, which was really cool, too. I mean, not just only the character of Sean, but also how it connects through Maya and... there's some. I agree. There's some heavy stuff in there.
A lot of people had tweeted at us and asked us to explain the bay window conversation between Maya and Sean, and so Riley has made Sean confess to Cory, that he doesn't like necessarily coming home and has been away for so long because when he is there, he's reminded of what he doesn't have. So then she also has the bigger plan of having Maya sit down in the window with Sean and sort of talk about their family and how, her mom was only there half the time, his dad was only there half the time. And he says, I would never let anyone grow up like that. And she said, you wouldn't? And he said, no. And she's like, you wouldn't? And he's like, oh. And so people were not understanding what that meant.
Right. Some people might have thought that was Sean Maya's father or something. That there
It was odd, but to me, what that meant, and I had to watch it a second time to understand, to be honest.
I did a double take. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was because there was a lot going on there. So my understanding was that he says, I would never let someone grow up like that, and he is letting Riley grow up like that. He's not there. It wasn't necessarily that he said, I would never let my child grow up like that. He said, I would never let anyone grow up like that. So he's not being there for Riley.
Right.
If he's
and Maya is calling him out, and he's coming to terms with that over the course of this episode, that he actually has been absent in Riley's life, even as an uncle figure, an avuncular figure, if you will, or a friendly older figure. I mean, he's been away.
And it looks like he's going to change that because he invites them all on his next hit the road getaway. Which I can't wait for.
Yeah, that'll be amazing. I think the intergenerational relationships, it is intergenerational, really, that go on in this episode were handled so well.
Yeah.
It didn't feel at all creepy, and it didn't even feel contrived. Like, it felt genuine, right? That Sean and Maya and Riley and Cory, and that there were these, and even Josh, we didn't get to this yet, but
Yeah.
But, not Josh, Mike.
It is Joshua Matthews, played by Uriah Shelton.
Exactly. There we go. So Joshua and his relationship with the parents and the grandparents, that intergenerational, and with his nieces and nephews, there's a lot of that going on.
Right.
Like, even how close Sean gets with Maya. I mean, that's really close, that they're having almost like a parallel friend conversation, that they're kind of on the same plane almost, although he has the more experience. I just thought that was a really impressive aspect of this episode, that there is that friendship almost between the older Sean and the much younger Maya, but it wasn't like weird old guy being
No,
weird.
it wasn't.
It felt genuine.
It was handled
and also,
properly.
Yeah, and I thought it was treated in a really nice way.
I'm excited to see them, and I have some predictions that I'll mention in just a few moments of what's going to happen. Just a few moments. I want to talk about, really quick, before we go to predictions, I want to talk about when Sean asks Cory, when they're in the window, what's it like to have kids? And he's like, that's when my life began. And he kind of says to Sean, you need to find someone and begin your life. And I can tell you that that is from Michael Jacobs' mouth, word for word, verbatim. That is, I think, like his lesson to the world. That's what he wants people to do.
I agree with you. And I will see here. Okay, so here's my little quasi-show related news. So when I went on to prep for the show today,
AFTERBUZZ TV news.
Oh yes. Oh,
this is exclusive.
You heard it here first. But Michael Jacobs' son Daniel, who is that the original Josh from when he was the baby? Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, get this. He is going to Emory University next year, starting college. Just announced it today. So, Mazel Tov, Danny, on going to Emory next year.
Wow, that's what you have for us?
That's what I got. Do we have a sound effect for that? There we go. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well,
No, we're really happy for you. So, and
that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And I think he was just celebrating a birthday as well.
but we don't stalk you or anything.
But we don't stalk Michael Jacobs or his family at all.
It's really funny. I went online to look up something for the show, and the first thing that came up was Daniel Jacobs going to Emory. So
I love it.
wish you luck, buddy.
But before we move into predictions, I really did like the message of the show to find someone and start your life, because I feel like a lot of people do, like Sean, kind of feel lost in life, and finding someone to really share your life with and then begin that life with them and creating your own family. I think that's a huge part of life, and I like that it was in this episode because I feel like so many shows have sort of kept up with the times and almost... I feel like we're sort of going in the wrong direction maybe in society, and it's not family-based anymore, and everyone's independent, and we're not working together anymore, and we're not even together anymore. So I really like that he's sort of bringing those morals and values and family back on television.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also a way of saying, like, at the same time, it is Michael Jacobs and his team who brought a character from a family that did not have two parents openly into this show and onto, into prime time and into a kid's show, right? Like that Sean didn't have two parents actively in the picture, and same with Maya. And so showing that there is a diversity in what family looks like while still valuing family and still trying to be better than one grew up, or, to improve oneself, right? So
right.
that Maya is learning from Sean that he had a similar experience and it was challenging, and he's learning from it. And, Cory is kind of teaching him, and Sean is teaching Maya, and
so many parallels.
There are. And also, but I think there is something, it's not only that, like, I don't think the message is only that there's only one kind of family, but that family
right.
and finding a partner and, and trying to be better and not just kind of accepting negatives of your situation, but trying to stay positive and improve. I think those are the messages that we see here, and for sure in Boy. But yeah, I heard that a lot in this episode, and in that aspect as well with Sean having kids and hearing it from, potentially thinking about having kids or a partner,
right.
and hearing that from Cory.
So let's go ahead and move into predictions. This is the least favorite part.
Your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Josh, don't break the folly board over, the soundboard over there.
My finger is on the trigger.
We've never used it this. I don't know what's going to happen.
I love it. When I first started here, we would plug songs. We would have dance breaks. Josh, we need to talk. We need to implement these changes.
More dance breaks coming.
You turn it on and I will dance. It's a guarantee.
You're very responsive to these two prima donnas up here, Josh. You don't have to be so accommodating.
That's what I do.
Put us in our place. Just say, no, I'm not going to play a song, and you can't do anything about it.
But if you feel like it.
I have to say, just to say casual Boy Meets World fan, it's nice to hear that. I always assumed Sean was that kid who was going to just end up as a pool hustler or something and do nothing. It's nice to hear that his life isn't completely screwed up.
And that's not even, fantasy. I just went to my 10-year high school reunion in between the last episode we did and this one, I think. I think it was, yeah. Man, like, people change and go through all kinds of things and pull themselves out of all kinds of situations, and it's amazing.
You can either rise above it or you can let it sink you.
Indeed.
All right,
yes.
Predictions. And
I should have saved my news. See, I thought the news sound effect was going to be the prediction sound effect, and I was going to predict that Daniel was going to go to Emory. But then I got a news thing, so
Well, you
totally
didn't.
threw me off.
But what I'm predicting is, since we got this whole Sean find someone, begin your lifeline, I'm going to take that as next week when we're all at this cabin when Sean is taking them to like his job sort of place. I think the girls are going to try to find him someone.
Whoa.
Maybe. I mean, maybe that's too adult. Maybe I want too much. But why couldn't they sort of like push him to like go on a date with some nice girl that they find, who I'm sure is selling cookies or something at their ski resort where they're going to be? I don't know. It's going to be some very wholesome girl.
It's a prediction. It's not like write the whole episode. No,
I'm writing it.
I hear you. I don't know. Well, you know who was missing here from this episode? We had no Lucas in this episode.
Lucas was home for the holiday.
We've been having a lot of Lucas lately. He was in Texas on his private jet where he flies every week from New York. No, but it's true. He probably was. But you're probably right about that.
I hope so, because we do get one more episode with him this season. And so I hope that the girls maybe set him up.
How many more do we have?
I think it's going to 22 or 23 episodes this season.
And
so
this was 16,
This was 16, so we have a few more. And then we already know there's going to be a season 2. Woo!
Yes,
and
it's taping right now.
Yeah.
Here in sunny LA.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of Will Friedle from set, and I will definitely be tweeting out my picture with Will Friedle because, spoiler alert, he was my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
From
you
Boy.
have a picture from before?
Oh, I told him when I was working on the show, he came to visit, and I gave him, like, the tour of the Girl Meets World set, and I told him, I'm like, don't tell anyone, but you were always my favorite.
That's so funny. Well, maybe we should go visit the set. Maybe you and I should take some...
We'll take AFTERBUZZ.
Yeah, well, we should go and take some photos. Wouldn't you guys like that? We'll take some photos for you.
All right.
Videos, maybe. Maybe little vids.
Maybe. We'll see what we can do.
It's probably not allowed. Who knows?
We'll find out. Well, guys, it's been amazing.
We should tell people our
2014. We definitely should. What's your Twitter? Where can we follow? Where can we keep in touch with you over this holiday break?
Okay. Okay, please don't text me. No, you can tweet me. It's at Lee M. Epstein on Twitter and also at Lee M. Epstein on Instagram. I love hearing from you guys, so thank you and keep it up and keep following, and we'll write back to you for sure.
Yeah, and you can follow me at Cinematic Escape on Twitter. You can check out my blog, cinematicescape.com, or we are on Instagram as well, and I'm cinematic_escape. We'll see you guys in 2015. I'm so excited for the new year. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next year.
Bye-bye, Girl Meets World fans.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.